Hey, happy Friday. I hope you guys are doing well. It is very cold here in Minnesota. I think it's like 19 degrees or something crazy. So I'm wearing my under 20 jacket. I have jackets for different temperatures. Yes, I do. I'm a freeze baby, and I am stressing the baby part of it. Anyways, I wanted to just share a little bit about the messy middle. And I actually was being reminded about this morning because I feel like somebody out there needs to hear this today. Gosh, was it back in 2018? I think 2018, I was really in the messy middle, like in the cocoon, like messy, being liquefied, going through probably one of the biggest processes of my life of surrender. I called it the great unwinding. I called it the unwinding from grinding journey, like so many different things. And maybe someday I'll write a book about it. But long story short, I came across a gal we met through social media, and she had written a book that was talking about the messy middle, and it's actually called The Messy Middle. Her name is Stephanie. She's amazing. I don't know if she's still on social media. We haven't talked for a while. But she was offering a group coaching program at that time, just talking about the messy middle. It went along with her book, and it was so powerful. It was the first time I was ever part of a group coaching program before, and there was 4 of us total, and I still have, touch base with them, the other gals, once in a while, but we were all walking through really challenging messy middles, and to have each other during that journey was incredible. So all that to say, as some of you guys know, I am a coach. I was a coach before I even started, being part of that program. I've been a coach since 2017. Coaches need coaches. And if you're not a coach, you really need a coach, especially those of you who are walking through messy middles. So I want to just share a couple things that I've just been sitting in my car for a few minutes after leaving my class. One of the things that was really highlighted to me this morning as I'm sitting here, if you've ever been pregnant before, there's a lot of messy middle there. At least for me, there was a lot of messy middle. I really wanted to have a child, and my experience with having children was very traumatic, actually. I actually was saved from addiction when I was 25, and then immediately had 2 miscarriages, and I was told that I couldn't have children. But God, I had other plans. My boys are 15 and 18, so I always like to say doctors don't know everything, so just remember that. But both pregnancies were really, really challenging. I went through a lot of, morning sickness with both kids. I was just uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable. And to have people around you that maybe have walked through being pregnant before, you're going to hear different stories, right? If you've been pregnant before, people always have different pieces of advice, and they tell you what to do, and it's not always helpful, right? So that's an example of the messy middle. And even, when you birth a child, it is really painful. Anybody hear me on that? So we need people around us that are going to help us remember, like, hey, you are going to birth a child and it's going to be okay. And then the child comes, and many times you're like, oh, when are we having another one? Like, you kind of forget the whole process, right? But what I was reminded of this morning was, I love the people, they're in the Bible. Like, they're real, it's real stories. This is not a fake story, the Bible. But I was reminded today, I'm really, really, really passionate about working with women to help them birth whatever it is that the Lord's calling them to birth. Had an incredible call yesterday with one of my one-on-one gals, and it was just like, I get to be a spiritual midwife and come alongside these gals. But all that to say, in the Bible, just think of how many were given a promise and it looked nothing like the promise in the middle. So look at David. He was promised to be king, but what was in the middle? He was, tending sheep and probably getting his feet dirty, and like it probably stunk, whatever you say. It probably wasn't a fun job in between, but he was faithful. And look at Joseph. He was given a dream, and that's an example of sharing your dream with maybe the wrong people at the wrong time. So I want to stress that you're not always, casting your pearls to swine. Here's what I know. Okay, I'm just gonna share a little diversion here. Sometimes if you are given a blueprint or something from the Lord to create or birth, you're taking a step out of something, you're taking a step into something, it's not always for you to tell everybody right away. So if you've ever had an experience, maybe like Joseph, where you spoke too soon, you shared the pregnancy too early, there are certain people that are going to share lots of, like I was saying in the beginning, when you're pregnant, people are going to try to tell you all the things to do, what not to do, what to do. And if you're pregnant with, I like to say, pregnant with purpose, it's not always for everybody to come into your birthing room. It's not always for everybody to know all the things, because you're going to get some people that really aren't for your pregnancy. They are going to give you all the what ifs and the plan Bs and all the things that are going to try to sideswipe you from potentially birthing. You could miscarriage the promise. You could, birth Ishmaels. You could, all the things. So that's a whole other story there. But you need people in your corner who are going to help dig out the gold within you, who are going to help you step into the promise and keep going, first of all, because a lot of times these things that God gives us, I like to say, look really crazy to others. They look like they maybe don't make sense. Just look at Noah. You guys. Go read about Noah if you need a messy middle story. It doesn't give all the details of, potentially Noah's wife and her going like, what are you thinking? What are you even talking about? Like rain? We're going to have a flood. We need to prepare. Just all of the things. Think of Esther. Esther was trafficked, and she truly was. Have you ever thought about that before? She was trafficked, and she had a process for a year prior to her becoming a queen. I can't imagine that it was, maybe there was some good times. I'm sure that it wasn't always the best of times, but that messy middle time, I just want to remind you today, I'm still walking through the messy middle at times. If you guys know some of my story, it's been a wild adventure since I was freed and released from the corporate side of healthcare. If you want to hear some of my story, it's on my podcast. It's titled Kristen's Journey of Freedom and Deliverance. But there is a messy middle. And if you have been given a promise from him, like let's just say you're called to build a big thing. Well, there's a process. Like you can't just build it. There's a process to building things. And, just even think of Nehemiah. There was a whole process there. And all of, get in the Bible, read about those who walked through the messy middle. And, the Israelites being freed from Egypt, coming to the promised land, like messy middle, right? Some of you may feel like you're in the wilderness. I understand. I've been there, and it's still like, I still feel like I'm on my way to the promised land at times. And, I love Joshua and Caleb because, they were 2 of the 12 spies that went in, and we're like, yep, there's giants, but we're going to keep going. Like, we're not turning back. We're not afraid. You just got to keep going. But again, I'm stressing here. Some of you guys may not know or understand what I do but I come alongside women basically as a spiritual midwife to help you birth the things, right? To help you soar with new wings, to help you get out of the nest. Too many of you guys are just laying down in the nest because you're fearful to spread your wings and fly, okay? I have keys to help unlock you from your cage and help keep you out of your cage. The enemy loves to keep women in cages from fulfilling the promise that the Lord has given them. He loves to keep your voice locked up. So those are my two really big things that I'm very passionate about, is help women soar in their calling and roar with their voices, because it's due time. You need to birth that thing. It's time. And for those of you who have worked with me, you know how it goes. Like, I am going to come alongside and help you get that thing birthed. It's like I am ready to just be next to you and go, push, push. It's coming. You're crowning. And that's prophetic in and of itself. So it's time to crown. Put that crown on, girls. All right. If you guys want to hear more about what I do, let me know. But if you're in the messy middle, and, you know, at times for me, even as, like I said, I am at times in the messy middle myself, and the enemy would love to tell me that you are not qualified to coach because you're still walking out some things. But I will tell you one thing. This girl is not turning back. I am not going back to Egypt. I am going back to help women be set free. Just like Isaiah 61, you need to go back and you need to go read Isaiah 61. But I am setting the captives free. There's too many of you that are captive, and you need to be captivated. So go from captive to captivated. All right. Reach out if you need help. All right. Bye.